drooping trees plus some freshly broken pine branches on the ground underneath. Looks like someone came off about 15 to 20 feet up. Some small branches about an inch or less in diameter.
We moved forward and came to a spot where the flight lieutenant told me this is where it had landed.
We found a small blast, what looks like a blasted or scruffed up area here.
I noticed the ground was scruffed up a bit. There were 3 small indentations about 8 to 10 inches across, all the same size, all the same shape, as though something sat down on a tripod is basically what it looked like. We had the disaster preparedness NCO get the Geiger counter, the APN 27I, start taking readings.
We're getting very positive readings. Let's see, is that here the center? Yes, it is. This is what we would assume would be the dead center.
He was quite alarmed because he was getting higher readings than normal background radiation. That's when I started getting a little bit nervous, and how did I get into this and what am I doing here? And I noticed off to the side some activity, and the lieutenant started hollering, "Look over there, look over there," and we could see something.
Where? Right in this position here, straight ahead, in between the tree. There it is again. Yeah, I see it too. What is it? We don't know, sir. Looks like an eye winking at you. It's still moving from side to side.
It moved through the trees, as though it were negotiating a path through the trees, as though it were under some type of intelligent control. The whole time it appeared to be shedding something like molten metals. It was dripping off it.
This is off it again. It just moved to the right. Yeah. Off to the right. Strange. Wait, again left. Let's approach to the edge of the woods up there. Can you undo without lights? Let's do it carefully. Come on.
We moved forward to try and find out what it was. We were really concerned and wanted to know. We wanted some answers. It suddenly exploded without a noise and broke into several objects, white objects, and they disappeared.
It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. Pieces of it are shooting off. There is no doubt about it. This is weird.
One of them came toward us at high speed, several thousand feet in altitude, stopped nearly overhead, and sent down a beam.
Here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now. Now we're observing what appears to be a beam coming down to the ground. This is unreal.
Is this a signal? Is this a warning? Some type of a weapon? What is it? We didn't know. We were really concerned.
We're turning around, heading back toward the base.
It was 4 a.m. The lights were still in the sky, but with no explanation for them, the men could do nothing more and headed back to base.
Probably the biggest concern I had was when we started back. I knew I was going to have to explain what I was doing in the forest all that time. I had feelings, well, there's the end of my career. So I talked to the wing commander a bit, and he said, talk to the local British liaison officer and make a report, which I did.
As the incident happened off base, it came under the jurisdiction of the British Ministry of Defence. Holt wrote the MOD a brief memo and copied it to the American Air Force.
The memo was never intended for public consumption. It was never intended to be a final report. The memo was intended to get somebody from whatever department in the MOD to come and properly investigate.
Britain's Official Secrets Act would keep the memo out of the public domain for a minimum of 25 years. And authorities on the base decided the story should remain classified.
The Air Force did a great job of containment. I had, over the next 3 to 4 days, probably 6, 7 debriefings, and pretty much what I was told at that point is that it's an ongoing investigation. You know, we'll treat it as top secret, and discussion about it is forbidden. I heard people talking about it, but I did not violate those orders. How did I feel about it, huh? They're orders.
As for Colonel Halt's memo, the MOD never replied.
I had a lot of unanswered questions and came to the conclusion I may never have an answer. At that point, I thought, this is the end of the story.
The US military assumed they'd successfully contained the matter. They were wrong. Locals living near the base had their own stories.
I was coming back from Woodbridge when suddenly, coming along the road, was a very bright, moving object. It followed the road as it curved. It came up and went straight over my car with a terrific swish.
We came down to feed the ponies, and it came just across. It was like an oval-shaped, with like cone-shaped lights on them all around the edge of like whatever it was. And it lit up the whole field across here. And the thing was, we had 6 ponies on the field, and not one of them stirred. It was just sort of uncanny, you know, it was just weird.
It was Christmas time. Wife and I had been out. It was her birthday. We came home midnight, just after, and I said to her, "Look at those lights." The lights went backwards and forwards and up and down. It didn't come up in the sky, and so 2 of them eventually disappeared over the horizon. Oh, and I heard vehicles and people talking over on the base, which at that time of day was unheard of, really. I hadn't heard it before.
After leaving the Alderton Swan, about 11:30, heading home, I saw the bright lights. I pulled over, and that was just hovering there. Obviously, you have to get your eyes to get adjusted to the light, and I could see the front triangle shape with the portholes underneath. And then it just went from 0 to a terrific speed over me and into the forest.
It wasn't long before rumours of these sightings reached the ears of Suffolk's premier UFO investigator.
When I was 5 years old, I was up the garden and I saw a big shadow come over top of me. So I looked up and there was this big silver craft.
Brenda Butler was used to strange tales, but in January 1981, she was told the strangest she'd ever heard. A contact on the base broke ranks and confided in Brenda that an alien craft had landed in the forest, right on her doorstep.
I thought he was pulling my leg, and I said to him, "You've got to be joking." And he said, "No, I'm not. There was definitely a craft came down." And I said, "How do you know?" And he said, "Well, because I was there."
Brenda had little doubt about who to call with this exciting news.
When I was living in Great Yarmouth, I saw something like an oval-shaped object, but the speed of it was just phenomenal. Brenda Butler phoned and said, "Dot, you're never going to believe what's happened down the base." And I said, "What?" She said, "I've talked to who we call Steve Roberts. He's been in touch and said that there had been a craft and aliens land in the forest just off the base."
Brenda and Dot joined forces in an attempt to uncover just what had taken place in the forest over Christmas.
We worked very well together. Dot was the talker and I was the writer, so we made a good team. One gentleman, he was taking his dog for a walk through the woods at 11 o'clock one night, well, that was the 27th, and he said he saw 3 silver-suited firemen, not aliens, but firemen, and they were actually covering up something which was in a big crater.
Brenda and Dot approached